and I'll come back and report my findings to everyone.
Yes, yes. Please give us a debrief. Well, speaking of food, folks, two quick stories. One, I'm sure many of you have been watching the Next Food Network star, and this time we had an Indian chef that was in the running. She made it down to the final three, and I was watching the show. Her name is Aarti Sakiera, which is interesting. And, I didn't think she was going to win. I'll be honest with you. Most Indian chefs that have come on these types of shows always bring their Indian flair. They bring their cumin and their curry powder, and a lot of times people just aren't ready for those tastes and flavors, and it doesn't always work. So I thought for sure she'll make it into the top brass, but she won't get to the final brass ring. Well, she did. She won it. And folks, she will have her own show. It'll be called the Aarti Party. And if you read up about her, it's kind of funny. You saw the movie come out, Julie and Julia, a couple of years ago with Meryl Streep. She kind of did something similar. She practiced on all her home recipes, and she finally got good enough to try some of these things. And, I think the reason she won is because she's bubbly, she's fun, and she connected with the audience. These shows are as much about drama and the person as it is about the food. I'm just happy to see her win. I hope she does really well.
There are a lot of Indian competitors on these chef shows. The Next Food Network star, Top Chef. Now Gordon Ramsay has one where he's taking ordinary people just from their ordinary homes and bringing them into the kitchen, and they make their ordinary recipes, and he's trying to make a chef out of those people. And there are a couple of Indians on that show as well. So you're seeing a lot of people coming into the culinary arts.
I think it's great. Indian food needs to be in the mainstream, and if it takes these types of shows to make it happen, then I'm in favor for it.
Well, Aastha, continuing on the entertainment theme, the cheap dime novel in India is making a comeback. And what I'm talking about are those cheap novels that have been sold. Yeah, the pulp fiction that's been sold in railway stations in India since the turn of the century, where for a dime people would buy a cheap novel about a love story or an adventure or whatever.
These are the ones where the women are always spilling out of their outfits, right?
Yeah,
right, okay,
yeah, something along those lines, But some of it gets lost in translation with me anyway. I can't read Tamil very well, but these novels are actually being translated into English now and are making a comeback all throughout India, and they're actually getting popular abroad as well. And you've seen this development of the traditional bookstore in India used to be your neighborhood bookstore or the guy at the railway station trying to sell you the latest novel. Now you're getting these Barnes & Noble type experiences cropping up in India where you have these big burgeoning air-conditioned stores where people go in to browse.
And you have a middle class that has money.
Right. So it's becoming popular now, and I think it's just funny. It's funny how this trend is coming back and how these novels that have been around and they're getting translated and reborn 60, 70, 80 years later.
Well, this is a little bit like those Harlequin romances. Women have been reading them here for years. And yeah, they're cheap but they give you that little temporary thrill and you can enjoy them. So this is kind of funny to me. I guess they're trying to go after this segment of the Indian population that has money but can't read because these books are in languages that they can't understand. And so by producing them cheaply overseas, because it's hard to produce them here, for example, producing a book is very hard to do. In India, it's much cheaper. So if you just translated them into English, you'd probably get a whole new kind of buyer base. That's funny. Well, speaking of staying on the entertainment theme 1 second longer, did you know Shah Rukh Khan is here in New York to stay? He is, because he's been immortalized in Madame Tussauds New York. Madame Tussauds does those wax museums, and it has all the celebrities in it. And now Shah Rukh Khan is there, too. And I just think it's funny because, Bollywood is making its way into mainstream media, and people will probably go through and be like, I know that guy. That's Mr. Khan. I am Khan. Well, this is kind of funny. Born lucky. Some birthdays are better than others. Did you know that, people say astrologically your sign makes a big difference? Apparently, your birth month can make a real difference to how lucky you are. This is fascinating. Across genders and ages, people born between March and August believe themselves to be luckier on average than those born in the colder months between September through February. By the way, summer babies grow up to be more open-minded and less neurotic than winter babies. May, according to the study, is the luckiest month of all. So if you want a fortunate kid, you got to get lucky in August with somebody. Yeah, I don't know if this is true, and they're not saying that this is because of the planetary alignments. I just think they think that there are subtle influences on the fetal brain development due to certain factors, including sleep and wake cycles and the presence of different viruses, which can vary from season to season. So they're actually saying it's environmental factors and your sleep patterns that really determine the outcome here, and not your birth month or your astrological sign. But who knows? You know, they also said that people who perceive themselves to be lucky were actually luckier because they had an open mind and a positive attitude. So it's not all in the stars. It could just be in, you know, when your parents decided to get together. Well, folks, that's about all we have for you today. We hope that you've enjoyed spending some time with us, and that we hope you have a wonderful week ahead.
Namaste.
Namaste.